every year, I have this tradition that isn't even really a tradition. I pick up this one game, Picross 3D. I 100% it, and then since I think I'm done with it, I trade it in so I can get some newer games. I kind of trade in my old games to GameStop because, I mean, I'm a poor college student. Gotta make sacrifices. Then later on, I miss it so much that I have to rebuy it. And I've been doing this for about 3 years in a row now. But hey, this time I really lucked out because I got it for $3. So now I'm stuck with it because GameStop would give me like 50 cents trading credit for it. I'll coop it. So what exactly keeps bringing me back to this? I mean, I have a regular Picross game and there's like a million of them online, so why am I so addicted? And why do I keep trading in my games to GameStop? Do I just hate money? I mean, I could go to like a million other places, Amazon, GameSpot Marketplace, but no, 50 cents. So for those who don't know, Picross, or nonograms, are logic puzzles that started in Japanese magazines in the late 1980s. These puzzles were shown on a grid, with each row and column telling you how many squares need to be shaded in. If there's one number in a spot, there was a single group of squares with no spaces, but if there were multiple numbers in a spot, it meant that each one was a group of squares separated by at least one space. Therefore, the entire game is about figuring out where each area can go, Xing out places where it's impossible, and using those X's with process of elimination to find out what needs to be filled in. Hey, wait a second, is that what I think it is? Anyway, in the 1990s, it seems Nintendo caught wind of this puzzle sensation and released Mario's Picross on the Game Boy. By the way, if you haven't played this, I really recommend it. It's got over 250 puzzles, really good music, and it's like $4 on 3DS Virtual Console. It's totally worth the cash. The game follows the same nonogram formula, but just made it feel more like a video game minus the extra paper and erasers. To me, it's one of the best puzzle games on the system. But outside Japan, it looks like no one else thought so. The game was a huge flop here, and we never saw a lot of the sequels. Picross 2, Mario's Super Picross, heck, they even made level packs on this Nintendo Power cartridge. Not to be confused with a magazine, it was a flash cartridge for the Super Famicom and Game Boy that you can go to a kiosk and download games on. I didn't even know that was a thing, so the more you know, I guess. In fact, we didn't see another Picross game until 2007, around the time where Brain Age and other mental training games were really trendy on the DS. And from there, I guess a lot of people enjoyed them because there's like 6 of them on the eShop now. I mean, come on, the devs who made these games, Jupiter, also did Pokemon Pinball and The World Ends With You, so the fact that this is all they're doing should mean something. But that said, with this puzzle game's international resurgence, what exactly makes me come back to Picross 3D more than the 2D ones? Well, I believe it's a combination of all its parts: complexity, presentation, and overall just reinventing Picross as a whole. So let me explain the rules. Remember when I said Picross is all about filling in squares and Xing out ones you don't think belong? Well, Picross 3D focuses on the other way around. Each level gives you some sort of cube or rectangular prism, and the point is to chip off cubes to reveal an image inside, while highlighting cubes you think need to stay. In theory, it's the same premise, but instead the priority is on getting rid of things instead of shading in things. Personally, I feel like this is a huge reason as to why I love this game. Each level feels like a block you're trying to make into an ice sculpture or something, rather than just a chunky drawing. It's satisfying to hammer away blocks with your stylus while carefully choosing what you think needs to stay. And when it's done, you see your result come to life, which makes you feel like you really made that object. Hey, wait, hang on, I didn't mean to make that. I bought this game used, it came with that puzzle. However, getting to that point is no easy task. These levels get crazy. They start you off on simple 5x5 puzzles, just like the original Picross, and then start handing you stuff like this. Pretty overwhelming, right? Well, it's not as impossible as it may look. The game comes down to using these red and blue arrows. By sliding each one, you can slice apart the cube to each individual side and just keep picking away at it. In a way, they're kind of like having a ton of 2D Picross puzzles in a 3D space. Usually, my game plan is to go through each slice of the blue arrow's axis, then solve more of the puzzle using the red arrow's axis, and then when you solve those, the blue axis gets easier, rinse and repeat. Occasionally, looking around the cube in different directions also really helps, since flipping it may give you a better idea on what needs to be chipped away. Even though the same strategy is used throughout the entire game, each puzzle feels wildly different because of the different sizes the models become. No two puzzles feel the same, which adds a lot of variety versus just staring at the same screen in the 2D version for hours. Not to mention, each object you make goes into a different art gallery, and after you're done, you can just check out the collections and the progress you've made. This variety also links into the game's difficulty. In Picross 3D, or heck, just Picross in general, a puzzle isn't more difficult just because it's bigger. In the first few levels, if you get stuck on which block to pick, you could usually just look at the overall shape and take an estimated guess, even if you're trying to 100% the game, which requires you to make no mistakes under a certain time limit. But in later levels, you're not only racing against the clock, but the patterns will look so weird and convoluted that you can't search normally. You have to learn advanced strategies, like seeing where both a row and a column only need one block, and putting 2 and 2 together. The game also handles progression in an interesting way. The puzzles in each level start really easy, but as you progress they get more and more difficult, only to go back to easy in the next level that's a little more difficult than the previous one. It just doesn't throw non-stop hard levels at you, and it's enough of a balance to keep you hooked for those long play sessions. I always ended up telling myself, just one more, only to realize it's 4 AM and I've lost control of my life. Now, even though I'm super hooked to this game, it's definitely not without its flaws. First of all, some of the music is just... no. What is this, Mario Paint? I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I thought a few tracks here were pretty bad. That said, you can choose music in the options, and they give you a nice amount to work with, including nature sounds for some reason. I mean, if that's your thing, go for it. The controls were also a bit finicky at times. I often forgot to take my finger off the hammer, and sometimes 2 blocks were just too close to each other. Some sort of zoom or lock-on reticle would have been really useful. I enjoyed the collection mechanic that the game built, but with more time, it could have been a lot better. For instance, one of the categories is things you can find in a house, but instead of putting these objects in said house, it just barely fits them on top of the background. Also, some collections are really out of place, like this painting about different athletic sports, and they put the pizza guy. If these collections were more interactive and fully embraced trying to build a painting, I feel like winning a stage would have had a greater meaning to it. And lastly, with the death of the Nintendo Wi-Fi service, you can't download the puzzles that were distributed from there. But this is just a minor thing since the game itself comes with over 350 blocks to pick. Seriously, you got at least 20 hours of puzzles to work with here. Not to mention the animations you can unlock and I have so many questions. But overall, I just adore Picross 3D. It may have a few flaws here and there, which a sequel could fix. I'm looking at you, Hal! That's right, this game was not made by Jupiter, it's by the devs of most Kirby games. And of course, their crowning achievement, Shigesato Ito's #1 bass fishing. Both of them. But overall, this sparked a ton of life into a puzzle just about filling in squares. I wanted the 3-star every puzzle. I wanted to make new strategies to solve these models faster. I wanted to see all the cute animations you get for winning. And most importantly, I just wanted a chill game I could use on the toilet. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this one, I just wanted a peaceful poop time. I'm a simple man. And it's the combination of all of its parts that make it a fun game that I replay every single year, whether I like it or not. Why am I still here? Okay, cheer up. Hi, welcome to Game Mart. We can sell your soul for 50% extra trading credit. This is Bob Nintendo. How may I help you? Hi, I'm calling about trade-in info. How much would I get for a Picross 3D?
Let me look that up.
Okay, it says here you'd get 28 cents.
You sure you want to do that?
Oh, geez. Is there anything I can actually buy in store with that, or?
Well, I mean, we sell lollipops here for a quarter.
I'll take it! Put that lollipop on hold. I'll be there right away, sir. Seriously? I gotta get out of here, man. That kid does this every single year. Oh my god. Picross 3D 2 just got announced for the 3DS. It's coming out in Japan in October. While I was filming a video for Picross 3D, the sequel got announced while I was filming. How does that even happen? The game, it came out in 2010. It's like barely any people bought that game. Only a couple 100,000 people bought that game. And I'm just, it's like this random puzzle game I want to tell the world about. And while I'm filming it, the sequel comes out. What? Nintendo's Nintendo, there's gotta be a conspiracy. You're screwing with me. I know you are. I know you're laughing behind your desk and like, hey, I saw you. Balrog was talking about Picross. We're gonna announce the game. I had a joke about having a sequel, and now it's null because there's a sequel. I need a drink. But I'm really excited for the game, okay?